Hey everybody, welcome back. What we're going to be going over today is a short overview of Cloud Scheduler and Cloud Tasks. And you might be wondering, isn't this a very easy topic? Shouldn't we have covered it in week one? Possibly, but I wanted you to get up and running with the more tricky things first. And to me, Scheduler and Tasks, these are kind of the system administration based things that you might have to do if you're a cloud applications developer, an architect, or whatever your role is. This is kind of the orchestration in a way of the things that you are doing up in the cloud. And the reason why I said this is the sysadmin type of thing that you might have to do, basically scheduler and tasks are two very similar notions. Now, I'm going to liken it to a pair of Linux programs, cron and at. So I've got here, I've got this link in the post. You're going to see it again when you check out the demos. But I've got this cron tab kind of a legend here, right? And we've got the at command or the at daemon, the cron daemon. These are Linux things that you use for scheduling in a typical server-based environment. You can use them on standard Linux machines too. You can also use it in Mac and Windows. It might be called different things depending on what you're using, but these are just for scheduling. And I promise I'll come back around to the cloud. So if we are doing something with cron, it's a repetitive cyclic task. We want to send an email every 10 hours about a job status update. We want to reboot the server every midnight. We want to run a replication, or we want to distribute a new configuration to all of our connected machines every week. We want a message to be pushed out to all of our users at tea time, 4 p.m., saying, hey, it's time to grab a cup of coffee. Whatever you're doing, cron is cyclic. It happens multiple times. And what you're seeing here in this Linux cron tab syntax, spoiler is we use the same syntax for Cloud Scheduler. What minute is something occurring? What hour is something occurring? What day of the month? What month of the year? What day of the week? What's the command you're running? These are just going to be numeric values, or it might be like a slash value. So run at 0 or 31, meaning, or sorry, run at 1 or 31, day 1 or day 31 of the month. Um, Basically, how often is this thing going to run? And in this example, this is your straight up standard Linux-based environment. Run this script every X iterations. In Cloud Scheduler, we'll do the exact same thing. So Cloud Scheduler is our cyclic, repetitive thing that's going to happen. Now, Scheduler is limited to, at least right as of right now, PubSub, HTTP calls, or App Engine HTTP calls. So basically, you only get a subset, but you could call like an endpoint or a RESTful type of call, and that could be a cyclic thing. But we're going to specify this pattern exactly. So get familiar with this syntax because it's going to come back when you have a little bit of work to do here. We're going to leave off the command bit because we're actually going to be calling a cloud service instead of running, a bash command. But that is Cloud Scheduler. It is a fully managed cron job service, and that's kind of why I started out with cron, because it literally is just cron. And what we're going to see here is that, so this is the quick start. We'll be running through that separately, but we can create a Cloud Scheduler job, run every minute or run every hour or run every day or run multiple times per day. And we're going to deploy something to PubSub. So basically, we're going to send some data out to PubSub. PubSub would then distribute it as PubSub does, and then whoever is subscribed to this topic would get this push. Well, this was all kicked off by Cloud Scheduler. The difference is that you are offloading that recurring scheduling to Google Cloud, and there is obviously charges with how many times you can do this and how often that you want something scheduled, but that's what Cloud Scheduler does for us. Very simple concept to me, just repetitive cyclic scheduling. On the other hand, Cloud Tasks, this is a one-off asynchronous task execution. This is the at command to the cron command. And if you're a Linux person, you already hopefully know what at is. Basically, run something once at some point in the future. What Cloud Tasks does is it's going to take some job or some task that you create. It's going to be pushed up to an event queue, and that queue is just going to be handled in order. So if I have, say, a Python script, which is the demo that you'll be seeing in the next video, where I want this script to be run at such and such point in time, I would just push it up to Cloud Tasks, and then Cloud Tasks would handle the actual execution of that. Again, it could be now, it could be later, just depends on how you configure it. But really the key difference here, cyclic, one off. Now you can push more than one task at a time, right? I could push 500 calls to the same script. Maybe it's tweaked slightly differently, right? Maybe it's got different parameters, but Cloud Test is going to handle its invocation at some point in the future. This can be helpful if you want that nice asynchronous execution rather than, again, something that you just call from the Cloud Shell or something that you trigger via an endpoint. This is just offloading that execution. So I don't know that there's much more to really talk about with this in terms of complexity because really it's just scheduling once or scheduling repetitively. And again, it's kind of one of those things where it's a helper service for you to manage all of your other more complicated services. Right? Maybe you want to trigger an App Engine call every midnight. Well, that's your cloud scheduler. Maybe you want to trigger a cloud function call tomorrow because that will kick off a database replication service. Well, maybe that's a cloud task thing. Anyway, I will have the quick starts that I use in the lab, associated with that video. But yeah, play with them, see what you think, and hope you enjoy. Hi, everybody.